Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax. Except you, that person driving. Sit up and keep your eyes on the road. Your ears, though, can still listen as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
And me, Rob. It's almost a draft day.
I thought you were about to start flexing or something there. You're like, this, like, which way's the beach?
I was going to go with the Wario for a minute.
Oh, okay, we're doing the Wario. All righty, folks. So today we are going to go ahead and talk about the linebackers and the safeties in this year's draft. Two pretty important positions for us because, let's be honest, we need some depth at these pieces. We got one good linebacker now. We have one coming off ACL. We have a second-year guy that was healthy at least, but didn't really show a lot as a rookie. That's it at the linebacker position. You know, safety-wise, we have a possible star with one banged-up hand because she's still wearing protective gear on that hand. Apparently, still in the voluntary workouts they're doing right now as we speak. And then beyond that, we have one player we signed that we hope is going to be a fit. We don't know yet. Another rookie that was almost healthy for the most part, but again, I don't think he had the greatest rookie season. It wasn't like you go, oh, that's a star in the making. So
but he also didn't embarrass himself. So.
No, and that's what I'm saying. It's just, There's also a fourth round pick. You can't expect a stud out of the fourth round. You shouldn't, at least. It's nice when it happens. But it's not something you should count on. So before we get going, guys, of course, we are, as we were last episode, should say, sponsored and presented by Manscaped. So we do have, of course, a special offer for all of our listeners that were interested. So you save 20%, plus you get free shipping on all purchases at manscaped.com by using the promo code GOOFBALLS. Goofballs. And we're here talking about football and shape balls, the goofballs. We got the lawnmower 4.0 here. Oh, yeah.
Light your way.
Oh, yes. Light your way.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's like a lightsaber.
With the
just takes it right off.
Technology.
Won't feel a thing.
Oh, yes. Plus, keep in mind, guys, it's going to get warmer everywhere, no matter where you're listening from. You know what happens with warmth? Sweat. You know what prevents sweat? Shavedness. Oh,
and
yes.
The crop preserver.
Oh, yes.
And let me tell you, today, I worked in an environment. I ran around for 11 hours. I put this bad boy on, and let me tell you, it felt like a dream all day long.
Oh, yes. And that's the key there. The dream. Living the dream. They get the nice boxers to put on afterwards as well with the kid.
Yeah.
Ball deodorant again. These are things, guys, that nobody wants to talk about, but the summer is coming, guys. That's what you're going to need it. So again, manscaped.com. Go there at checkout. Use the promo code GOOFBALLS, and you get 20% off, and you get free shipping on all your purchases. So definitely well worth it there.
And trust me, your balls will thank you.
Oh, yes, your balls will thank you.
They thanked me today after the shower. They went.
They looked up and gave you the high five.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, you can do that. That's great.
Sure, that's what we're doing in the shower, you pervert.
Oh.
All righty, guys. So as always, before we get started with the actual rankings here for the NFL draft here, we're going to give you guys just a little bit of news. Not a lot the last couple of days. It's been kind of slow as everybody's kind of gearing up for the draft here, but we do just have a little bit of news.
It's time for the news.
All right, so the one bit of Giants news that we have that really turned a lot of heads is that the Giants are meeting with Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker today. So they already have, I should say. They already had it earlier today.
This time recording,
So it turned a lot of heads. People were like, oh my God, we just signed Daniel Jones, and you're already looking at a quarterback that could potentially be his replacement. And I think some people are looking a little too much into this. First off, you always talk to anybody who may drop. This is a guy who may drop. He's got an ACL injury. He's probably not going to play much this season. He's the guy who's going to drop because of that. On top of that, when you're looking at wide receivers, and you think the Giants might be looking at wide receivers in the draft this year, Rob, you think they might go, we need a top flight receiver? Well, guess what, guys? Guess who threw to two of the biggest name receivers in the draft this year?
Who is
Hooker.
That? Ooh, what'd you call me?
No, I didn't call you a hooker.
Oh, okay.
Called you a trollop. But you think he might be able to give some insight into the guys that he threw the ball to? You think you might be able to pick his brain a little bit while also getting some information on a guy who, if he drops, is a good pickup for you? Because keep in mind, even when you draft somebody in, let's say, the third, fourth round, if he happens to drop, let me be very frank and clear before someone says he's an idiot, because someone's going to say me saying this, but I don't care. I don't see it happening. But it's still possible. Anything is possible in the draft. If he drops down like the third, fourth round and nobody's taken him yet, there's worse ideas than the Giants taking him. Let's say he doesn't play much next year. That's fine. We don't need him next year. But we have him as a backup going forward at a cheap rate.
Right.
And if Daniel Jones flops, which I know Rob's going to tell me that I'm crazy for, but it's possible. It's possible. You have a nice option. Or let's say Daniel Jones gets injured, because let's be frank, he's been injured every year except for last year. That's one of the things a lot of Giants fans forgot. Like, oh, Daniel Jones is better now. Well, he just happened to be also healthy for the first time in his career. But if he gets hurt again next year, you got Tyrod Taylor. Past that, now you would have Hooker for the next 3 years after that. Like I said, it's a smart move, I think. It's one of the things that, even if it's just to get the knowledge out of Tillman and Hyatt, it makes all the sense in the world to go ahead and see what you got. So 100%. I think that's what it's all about. Is, you do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around, and that's what it's all about. So my dad chimes in with, no way he drops past round 2. And I'll be honest, I don't think he even makes it to us in round 2. I don't.
Yeah, I think we're in the second half of that second round, so it's like,
yeah. I'm just hoping the man likes some cold weather, because I have a feeling he's about to be a Viking. Just a gut feeling I have is that he's gonna, if he makes it to the Vikings, that he won't make it past them. But like I said, we shall see. We do have a little bit also of NFL news for you guys here. Got a couple things, so let's go into that. Oh, yes. NFL news here. So first thing is Allen Robinson, the wide receiver, the former Jaguar, former Bear, now former Ram, has been traded from the Rams to the Steelers. And you would think, I mean, he's been in the league 10 years. He's not exactly a spring chicken, but he's had some good years. He's a good veteran receiver. You would think he gets something for a player like that, right? Mid-round pick or something. Nope. The Steelers and the Rams just exchanged 7th-round picks. That's all. The Rams moved up like 20 spots in the 7th round. They went from 251 to 234. It's not even a full 20.
That's like almost a smack in the face to Robson.
Mm-hmm. But for the Steelers, who also have a young quarterback that are trying to get weapons to, it's a steal. The one 100%. Problem is you're going to pay the guy like $10 million a year for the next 2 years. That's the one downfall. So if you got the cap space, though, why not do it? As my dad also says, salary dump. And yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was a salary dump. But I find it hard to believe, with all the people needing a wide receiver, the lack of top talent wide receivers in this draft. We've talked about that ad nauseum. And nobody wanted to give you even just a 7th round pick flat out.
Yeah.
I mean, like something. A 6th round pick, perhaps.
Maybe a 5th would be, hey.
Something. Oh, goddamn. It's like this guy's done like 1,000-yard receiving.
Picks, like,
yeah. He's done like 3,000 or 4,000 yard, seasons in his career. He's done multiple over 800 beyond that. It's not like this guy's been like a one-hit wonder or a scrub. Now, granted, he was injured last year and didn't have a great year. Had his issues his last year in Chicago as well. So he was really 2 years removed from a really good year. But like I said, that one's a little boggling to me there.
What was his injury last year, by the way?
Oh, now you're gonna make me look it up.
I was about to say, maybe the Rams.
Now you're gonna make me look it up here. I don't even
behind
know
the scenes.
I did not have myself that prepared for that type of conversation into this here, to be very frank with you. Foot ailment. Just says foot injury. So who knows? Maybe it's that that one that was that the one that what's his name had. Oh, now you got me all messed up. You asked me one question. Stop asking questions, Rob. Damn it.
I'll go. I'm out.
Okay, you're out.
I'm going to shave my balls.
Okay.
Aww.
But maybe it's that Liz Frank injury, that one that we already talked about with the foot injuries that takes a little time. Maybe that's why they got nothing for him. Like I said, I never heard a specific either, and that's probably why I forgot, is because I'm looking it up now. It's all foot injury, foot injury, foot injury. So, Connor says Drew is unprepared. Rob, reach over and slap Drew.
Whack.
As long as he doesn't slap me with anything freshly shaven, it's okay. Alrighty, so QB news here. So the rumor is that several teams, including the Vikings that I mentioned a moment ago, have reached out to the 49ers about Trey Lance. And it begs the question of a few things. First off, why would the 49ers ever trade Trey Lance until they know that Brock Purdy's healthy and able to throw again?
And two,
why the hell would anybody want Trey Lance?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
I don't get it. I didn't get the whole even draft night. I'm like, really? This is who we're trading up for? This is who we like gave up so much stuff for? Like, thank God I'm not a Niners fan right now. I'd be like throwing stuff.
Somehow your 7th round pick was your best pick.
Yeah. We also have news on this year's potential number 1, number 2 pick kind of guy. Ohio State QB CJ Stroud apparently had committed to being a part of the Manning Passing Academy and then ghosted them. Just didn't show up. So this has caused some alarms to go off for some scouts around the league because you don't mess with the Mannings.
Yeah. Well, that and you don't make a commitment and not follow through.
Yeah, but it's like, if you mess with the Mannings, word's going to get out.
Oh, 100%.
If you mess with some random, Smallville, USA Passing Academy or a football camp with the kids or something like that, like, it's probably not going to come out. You do the Manning Passing Academy, where basically every quarterback in the last, 20 years or so has come out of. Yeah, word's going to spread. Show up. And I'm sure, I'd have to look it up, but I'm sure he probably went there himself when he was younger as an actual participant. So that's one of those things you do. That's part of the policy they have there. That's why you always see NFL quarterbacks going back and giving back. So, as Connor says, you think the Giants would take Hooker for backup and just in case Jones didn't work? I do. I 100% do. It's the most important position on the entire team. And you have an injury-prone quarterback who you still have questions about. Why would you not?
Who doesn't like Hooker?
Again, I wouldn't take him round 1. I would even potentially pause around 2. So I don't think he's going to drop long enough for me to go, yeah, that's worth it. But if you have a QB in the mid rounds even that you have a lot of faith in and you believe in, given what I just said, yeah, I'm taking him all day long. Worst case scenario, he's a cheap backup for the next 4 years. You need that. You're paying Tyrod Taylor a lot of money right now. You don't want to pay that kind of money. So, all righty, guys, on to our linebackers and our safeties. So I'm going to go ahead and let Rob make this decision here. We got 2 different groups here. Do we discuss the linebackers first, or do we discuss the safeties first?
Let's end off safe. Let's go with the linebackers.
Oh, he's doing it. So, guys, we have 10 different players for you guys. in each position. So we're going to go ahead and do like we've been doing as far as that. I didn't go into like 20 or anything crazy for you guys this time because let's be honest, y'all got to go to sleep eventually, and so do we.
Yeah.
So if y'all got any questions on anybody specific in this draft, as always, let us know. And if we haven't done the research, haven't done the tape, we will tell you point blank yet, hey, give us a chance. We'll look this guy up. We'll let you guys know what we think next time. I think that there's probably some guys in here that will give us a name that, we probably still have to do some homework on. Because keep in mind, you're talking about positions here that you have two on the field at pretty much all times. So when you have that, there's going to be a lot of guys in this draft, a lot of them. So this,
mucho.
Yeah. So like I said, we're giving you guys the top 10, but anybody else beyond that you guys want to know about, let us know. We're happy to either let you guys know right off the bat what we think, if it's a player we've already done some homework on, or we'll go ahead and do some homework for you guys and let you know next episode. Connor says you need protection just in case Daniel messes up or gets hurt, but you definitely need protection with the hooker. LOL.
100%.
Yes.
Sometimes you need double protection.
Yes. That actually makes it worse, Rob. Did you learn nothing in health class?
I wasn't talking about that part. Like, hey, listen, if you want to, let's try something else.
I'm just saying.
Strime wrap goes a long way.
Let's stop talking about hookers. My dad's commenting. He says we may trade down around one if all the wide receivers and CBs we have around one grade on are gone by the time we pick. And that's definitely possible, unless there's a guy that I really like a Nolan Smith drops or something like that. That kind of move I can definitely see. All righty. So let's get into our linebackers here for you. Would you care to do the honors first, Rob, or would you like me to go first?
You can go first today.
All righty. You just gave yourself the more difficult name after me. So anyway, number 10.
Fantastic.
DeMarvion Overshone, Texas, 6'3", 229 pounds. So obviously good size and length as far as the height, a little bit late as far as the weight there, obviously. Athletic and quick, a violent tackler overall. Not very good against the run, though. Missed a lot of tackles, especially in the open field. And I think a lot of that is due to his size. So like I said, he's got the good length, but he's 229 pounds. So he's almost a tweener, not quite a safety, not quite a linebacker weight-wise, but has the height of a linebacker. So linebacker will be where he plays in the NFL. But I think he's a guy you might bring down more as like a third down linebacker, someone to come in to do some coverage and stuff like that for you as Rob's light go out. Did you not pay the power bill, Rob?
Oh, yeah. No, the dog came in the room. Give me 1 second.
Oh, the dog got the room again. But, yeah, guys, you're going to see a lot of these kind of smaller linebackers. I'll give you guys fair warning on that. There's a lot of – we talked about smaller corners, smaller receivers. This is a small draft. If you guys want the big bruisers, unfortunately, this is not the draft for you.
No, all these guys, we've been saying it through the whole draft coverage. Like, when you start with the receivers, tiny. Cornerbacks, tiny.
We talked about a receiver's 160 pounds, guys. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Like, I'm not even sure that fits on a peewee football team, let alone an NFL one. So,
seriously.
It's like the rad tad of the NFL soon. All righty. Number 9, Rob.
Number 9.
Oh, actually, I forgot to say 4th, 5th round, guys. 4th, 5th round. That's what I'm thinking for him.
Yeah, I'm thinking early 5th.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, I wouldn't be surprised in 4th, but early 5th. But we also got at number 9, Muhammad Diabetes.
He's not diabetes.
I didn't say diabetes.
Diabetes.
It's fine.
Muhammad Diabate.
Diabetes. I got diabetes. Just name that name. Diabetes.
Let us know about his size and insulin.
Oh, well, he needs to take at least a couple milligrams of insulin.
Type 1, type 2.
Yeah. Definitely type 2 with his beefcakes. Right? 6'3", 230 pounds. Listen, I don't know if Muhammad really actually has diabetes here, so I'm sorry.
I'm sure he does not have diabetes.
Yeah. As a physical athlete specimen.
His name is just spelled similar to the disease. That's all.
Yes. So he also played at Florida. Oh, sorry. He plays for Utah now, but he also played at Florida.
Yep.
He's got good size with his athleticism, great range, versatile. He's physical in his hands. He plays physical, gets low, but he also has trouble in coverage. And he also takes some wrong angles, like when he sets up. And then sometimes with his size, he gets into the blocks and just gets stuck.
Yeah. Well, that's the size. That's the weight, and that's what I'm saying. When we're talking about smaller guys, he's got good size again for the height, 6'3". He's got decent length, but he's 230 pounds. So, you're talking just a pound overshowing. We're just talking about him being a little light. So, and he's not a good cover guy. What he is, though, is he's a guy that you could throw in on blitz packages from the linebacker position and hope that you can coach up the rest of the coverage skills, the run blocking, if you maybe add a few pounds on without killing his speed and his athleticism. So, but yeah, I mean, a guy that you basically would have to develop, I think, is pretty much what sums him up. But a guy that also had some nice hits on tape. Honestly, he's got some nice hits on tape. Like, if you want a highlight reel kind of guy that just smacks the crap out of the opposing team, the opposing team, that's the guy. He just, you got some good hits.
Listen to Cool J before.
Yeah, Mama said
knock you out.
I'm gonna knock you out. All right. So I think like 4 or 5 for him. I think late 4, early 5 is probably really where it's going to be. He'll be definitely a day 3 pick.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm going to go with the opposite. I think he's a late 5, early 4, but more of a late 5.
Late 5, early 4s.
That's what you said before.
Is that what I said before?
Yeah.
I didn't even listen to myself. We got another comment here from Connor, except I won't read the 2-ply one he said about the cookers in the condoms there. Said Nolan Smith looks good. Prob gone, though. When we up, would you trade up for him or trade up to get Anderson Jr.? Listen, you want Anderson, you're going to be trading up in the top 5. We don't have nearly the manpower to do that draft-wise there. So trading up for him, no, I wouldn't trade up for an edge guy. But if he's there when we pick, then if they like him enough and they think he's a fit enough, then I would take him as a 3rd edge guy. Have a rotation.
I don't know if they go with I don't know.
It just depends on what else is there, and that's the crapshoot at 25. If you go with your board,
I feel like there's going to be better talent out there for needs.
But here's what I'm saying, though. Let's say hypothetically, any receivers and corners that you like are gone. That are off the board. Okay. Guys that you have a 1st-round grade on. You have Nolan Smith there. Or you take the center? You take him way too early? When you have a guy who's a mid-1st round pick by most people that you can get in the late 1st round? Like I said, it's a crapshoot, and I can see both sides of it. But to me, you always pick best player available. If he's your best player and your needs aren't there, then go for it. Unless you have the option to trade down, because I've said before, I want to trade down. All righty. Number 8, Ivan Pace Jr. out of Cincinnati. 5'10 and a half, 231 pounds. So this is a guy without the length or the size. He's almost like a safety. He really is like a heavy safety. But I've seen some really good tape on this guy that I liked, and some things that I think are something you can't coach. Like, one thing is he keeps his eye on the quarterback in pass plays at all times. I saw a lot of batted balls by him, and you wouldn't think that'd be something that he would do at 5'10", being the guys batting down balls or, shaving balls at Manscaped. And, he's been able to bat him down because he's got the instincts and he's watching the quarterback as opposed to, just sitting there in the middle going, what do I do here? It's just like he's got that knowledge that he's got to be doing something. Why not look at the guy who has the ball and look to see what he's doing at that point? He's got a very good short burst and shiftiness to him. He's a hell of a blitzer too. Like we talked about, a moment ago about using, some of the linebackers and the blitz packages. This is the guy who's built for blitz packages. Small size though, short length. He's also not good in man coverage. So that's the problem you run into is he's not a guy that you're ever going to put down there in all the plays. But if you want to bring an extra blitzer on the field, specifically from the linebacker position, not a bad guy to have there. If you want to put a QB spy in the middle, not a bad guy to have there. So, you have specific things that you can do with him. So, but you have to make sure you fit those needs, and what you need is what he does, if that makes sense. So I think he's not going to be drafted till later than the last two guys we talked about. I don't think he's going to get drafted like the 5th round. I think his size is what's going to really set him back. But I think he's better than the last two guys we talked about because he's got some of those instincts, because he's got one thing he's really good at. So, like I said, that's a skill. And skills are something the NFL tends to like. Crazy.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. Like, this guy, like you said, with the pass, like, he's not the great, could be its height, but he also he's got great football IQ to pay attention to where the ball is at.
Yeah.
So, like, he understands the plays. It's just like his size limits to what he can put out on the plays.
Oh, yeah.
But I do like him. I agree with you, Drew. I think his size is going to come in this draft.
Oh, yeah.
Someone's definitely going to pick him up, and he's going to be.
You know what I feel like?
He's probably going to be a vital part of a defense. He's about to say defense. He's going to be a vital part of the team when he plays, but he's going to. He's going to be, yeah.
I feel like the big thing for me is the NFL will see past weight. It won't see past length and height. They still value that in every single position. And 5'10" just isn't going to get done for most scouts and most, guys when they go to picking. So I think, like I said, I'm not too worried about that. It's an inch. If he was like 6 foot, which is like 1.5 inches we're talking here, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Sometimes it doesn't matter. This is one of those times to me it doesn't matter because you're not expecting him to be a star. If you want him to be a star, now you go, okay, well, can he be a star because he's 5'10.5"? You're looking for a guy to have a bench player with a bit role. That's what you're looking at in this kind of position.
Yeah.
So, all righty. Number 7.
7. Darren Williams. My man's 6'1", 228 pounds.
I got to put that comment up for Connor saying, I love the struggle in Roberto's face when saying hard names.
I feel like Bill Burr when I'm reading names.
Tell us more about Dorian Williams.
He's got smooth movement. He's a small guy again, light in size. He's got trouble against pass blocks. Well, getting past the blocks. He's got some experience on the special teams.
Yeah, he's got a lot.
Yeah. So, like, when he gets drafted, like, he's going to be, like, second string. Second stream.
Whoa.
Well,
that sounds like a medical problem there.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, no, he's probably going to be on special teams a lot and not being a starter on the main.
No, and listen, when you draft a guy, like, he's going to go, and I'm going to say 4th round. I don't know if you agree with that or not. I think like a 4th round pick he's going to be. But when you draft a guy that late, you want somebody who plays special teams. That's exactly what he does. He moves well. He's got lateral movement, which is also important for special teams. You put him as a special teamer. You give him a couple of years, see if you can develop him better as an actual defense guy, and maybe he makes it into the rotation. That's it. Not everybody has to be a star. They just have to fill a role, and that's exactly what this guy does.
And you know what? Special teams is a very important part of the whole team.
They're special even.
Yeah. Super special. Super special friends.
Maybe he can be the all-important gunner. See, now only the people who watch the show on a regular basis will get that one.
Definitely helps the kicker.
Oh, yes. Alrighty. Number 6. Deion Henley, Washington State, 6'1", 225 pounds. Again, tiny guy. This is what we got. Tiny, tiny people here. There's
whole draft's tiny people.
Like nobody's like 240, 250. That's what we're expecting here. And I say that because I know a couple are coming. But so far, these guys, no one has been. So he's had a very interesting path. And some of you guys who watched our previous episodes, we did one of our mock drafts. We talked about him. We also talked about him when we talked about the linebacker, show overall from the last year. We discussed them and ways to upgrade this draft, this offseason. So he was a quarterback in high school, goes to Nevada, becomes a wide receiver, then becomes a defensive back, even returns kicks at Nevada. Yes. Then becomes a linebacker when he transfers over to Washington State. And he made a huge impact. Huge impact. Highly athletic this kid is. I mean, he's literally played everywhere in the field, basically. Here's the thing. You can sit there and say it's a bad thing or a good thing, depending on how you look at it. You can sit there and say, okay, well, he's played everywhere because he hasn't excelled anywhere. Or you can say, the coaches kept seeing something in him and kept saying, like, wait a minute, we got to find a spot for this kid. He's that special. We need a spot for him. I'm a big fan of this kid. So probably the best coverage linebacker in the draft. We talk about, potential mid-later round picks kind of guys for us. This is, if we can get him, what position have we had trouble covering for the last 60 years, it feels like? Tight end.
100%.
You think a coverage linebacker might be a nice thing to have? Yeah. Might be nice to have. Especially when you're going against teams that have used historically the tight ends. Philly obviously always uses tight ends. Dallas, we got to see because they lost their starting tight end. What's going to happen there? But they have historically used the tight end in that offense over the last couple coordinators. Washington now gets Eric Bieniemy as their offensive coordinator. You think he might want to use a tight end based on what he did in Kansas City? Granted, he had the best one in the game, but still. So it's a nice thing to have somebody who can actually cover tight ends, and that's what this kid can do. He's explosive. He's also shown pass rush potential, which, again, in Wink's defense, you got to be able to rush the quarterback. If you can't, you're pretty much no use to him.
I mean, so he's also the size of a lot of the tight ends in the league, and there's a lot of tight ends bigger than him.
He's undersized for actually compared to the tight ends. That's the scary part.
Smaller.
He's like 20 pounds lighter than them. But here's the one big thing that you can't get past with him. And you can look at it as a positive. You can look at it as a negative. You're drafting him based on potential. Point blank if you draft him. So what kind of potential does he actually reach?
Yeah.
Is it a good thing that he hasn't hit his ceiling yet? Or is it an annoyance that you might have to give him a year or two to really develop better into the position? Depending on your outlook in that is where you draft him or where you think he's worthy of being drafted. So I think second to third round, I think he's going to go because I think it just takes one team that sees him, likes him, and is willing to have the patience, hopefully, and the time it takes to teach him this. I personally wouldn't take him till like late in the third round. Maybe early fourth even, but I think more probably later in the third round because the potential is there. So he's better than the guys we talked about a moment ago, the last couple guys, because he has a higher ceiling than any of them do.
Correct.
But how high that ceiling he gets to, that's the question.
It also depends how high you could jump and how big you could get. So, I mean, I think he's going to be a third round guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, but it kind of would be if he goes in second round.
That's why I'm saying that. Someone's going to see the potential, and they're going to draft him high because of potential.
like we said,
But they shouldn't.
Super athletic.
Superb
athleticism. So, like, he's played, he understands both sides of the ball.
Yep. And he also understands pretty much every spot on offense because he's played every spot on offense.
Yeah.
You think he can read a quarterback better because he played quarterback? I mean, that's an advantage. You think he can cover because he was a wide receiver? That's an advantage.
That's 100% what I was about to say.
Took the words right out of your mouth.
Right out of my mouth. Must have been why we were drafted.
Linebackers.
Yeah.
Oh. All righty. So, number 5.
Noah Sewell.
Yep. Just making a big boat and putting animals in 2 at a time.
Yeah. 2 at a time. My man's from Oregon, 6'1.5".
It's pronounced Oregon.
Oh, sorry. I live in New Jersey. I'll pronounce it whatever way I want
to. It's Oregon, like the trail. You get dysentery while going on.
Oregon Trail.
Yep. Everybody dies of dysentery.
Yeah. I made it to Colorado once.
I've actually beaten the game a few times just because I would be so bored in class because that's for some reason was the game that every single teacher let you play.
Instead of prime numbers.
You know what I think it was? I think it's because of the fact that it was set in history. They can say it was at least educational. And in all fairness, I probably would not know that much about traveling across the West if not for the Oregon Trail game.
I mean, I watched 1,000 Ways to Die in the West, so.
I also watched Wagons East with John Candy.
Oh.
This last movie before he died. The last movie before he died.
It was funny. Chris Farley had a movie about going out west.
Before he died.
Yeah.
I remember he was wearing one of those raccoon hats like that.
Right. Wasn't Canadian bacon? It doesn't matter. Anyway,
Canadian bacon sounds good right now. Bacon in general sounds good. So before we get started on him, real quick, in case anybody's wondering based on the last name as well, we should mention the fact that, yes, this is Penei Sewell's brother, Noah Sewell. So, yeah, if the name sounds familiar, there's a good reason for it. He's got a good bloodline.
Would you look at that? How many siblings in this draft, or we
got a lot of like siblings, father, son.
Yeah,
uncle. We had an uncle. We had an uncle.
I think this is probably number 8 or 9 we've talked about.
In all fairness, though, if you think about it,
genetics.
If you get your physical traits from your parents, which is typically the way it is, you get your mental traits from your parents as well. It's typically the way it is. It's a whole nature versus nurture thing. We won't get into psychology class today, but it would make sense that the pool of people that you're getting for the next generation of football players would be born from the previous generation. They grew up around football. They had the money to train and learn about football. They have the genetics probably to be good at it. So,
yeah. I mean, like Noah's got great strength. Dude can push some people around. He's got high motors. He's got an ability against the pass rush, which is something that the Giants do need. The thing is, with all that money, all that talent, and all that size, sometimes he goofs on the field. His instincts, sometimes he makes the mistakes.
He looks a little lost even sometimes.
Yeah. Like, if a play kind of goes off to what it's called to, sometimes he looks like that John Travolta meme.
You know what I was thinking of? Remember the abominable snowman of Looney Tunes? Which way did he go, George? Which way did he go? That's what I always think of, when there's a guy on the football field. Must have made that wrong left turn at Albuquerque.
Oh, bugs. And once he gets in that situation, sometimes he stiffens up and he tries to recalibrate.
Yeah, he's not exactly the most fluid guy as far as that movement goes. And I feel like, I don't know about you, but I didn't like him as much as I expected to going into it. Into this year, for those who aren't aware, when people talked about the start of the college season, it goes, here's a player to watch because he's going to be a good NFL player. Noah Sewell was the top linebacker. he's dropped down to number 5 for us guys. So not that he's a bum, but that's a pretty decent drop to go from number 1 to number 5. So
yeah, that and that being said, he's probably going to go in that probably mid third round. I would say.
yeah, I would say early mid third round. That's what I'm thinking. Like a really beginning of day 3. Alrighty, number 4.
Four.
Henry Toa Toa out of Alafricabama. Not to be confused with the band, of course. We're talking about the Crimson Tide here. 6'1", 227 pounds. Also played at Tennessee. So he's excelled at 2 different SEC schools. It's a pretty good resume.
Yeah.
Pretty good resume. High football IQ, very instinctive, good tackler, moves well. His 2 big issues: has trouble getting off blocks, inconsistent against the run.
That's a lot of guys in this draft.
But I'm telling you right now, he's going to be a starter of this league. You come in with that kind of resume, that kind of experience, doing well at those 2 schools, you're going to be a starter in the league.
Yeah, and then you're going to get the right coach, the right motivation, the good workout program. He's going to be.
What's my motivation here? What
get the
is
ball, beat the ball,
my motivation?
Beat the ball, get the ball.
Think fast, be fast. Think fast, be fast. I think it should be noted too, though, that some linebackers just have trouble getting off blocks. That is not an unheard of issue in this league. Ray Lewis, some will call for lack of a better term, the best of the modern day linebackers. I guess that's probably the title he'd be given. Yeah, he's not the best linebacker overall, but he's probably the best. He got the best resume of anybody in the last 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
So he had that trouble. He always had big fat guys in front of him that would just take on the blocks to free him up. And they purposely did that in Baltimore because he had that issue. Purposely. So I don't look at that specifically as what stops me from saying he should be drafted higher. What stops me is his inconsistency against the run. And that probably can be coached. So if you can coach that out of him, you can try to keep the blocks off of him, he'll probably be a decent player in this league.
Yeah, no, I agree. His football IQ just alone has been fantastic. Yeah. And like you said, playing through an instinctive player, playing through the 2 schools.
Yeah.
He will be
the biggest schools in football. I mean, that's big. So, I mean, I think early round 3 for him.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if someone really likes him and he takes him in the early second.
Wouldn't shock me.
Late second.
Yeah, I'd say mid to late wouldn't shock me, but I think early third is more likely for him there.
Yeah.
All righty, on to number 3.
Trenton Simpson. Dope! From Clemson.
Simpson! From Springfield?
From Springfield. Yeah, from Clemson. My man, 6'2", 235 pounds. He's got amazing range in coverage and pursuit. Dude's got a wingspan on him. He's a hard hitter. He's not afraid to get up and dirty and make some contact. Well, maybe not dirty, but make that great. No flag dirty is what I should say. No
flags.
Yeah, no flag dirty.
I don't know. I heard from Six Flags that more flags is more fun.
That old guy was like a 18-year-old girl. Do you know?
I know. I've seen that. Six Flags. If you're interested in a sponsorship like Manscaped was, 2giantgoofballs@mail.com.
I'm only about 20 minutes away from the amusement park, so
listen, I'm only about an hour away from the best amusement parks in the entire world. I'm just saying.
Oh, hello, Mr. Fancy.
Oh boy!
Oh my God!
Yeah, we're getting sued by Disney.
No, I had an allergy, so I had a cough.
I thought so too. I had some helium.
Yeah.
All righty. Tell us about Homer. Trenton.
Yeah, go back. sometimes he doesn't fit all the schemes out there. But he's also a systems guy. So he needs that coaching. He needs that, hey, this is how we're going to operate a thing as we're working as a team. Like if he goes to like the Patriots, the Giants, somewhere good coaching, he'll be all right. But if he goes to, we'll say Vegas, he's going to be toast.
Yeah. And it's all about just getting him into a spot where they're not going to try to make him something he's not, because that's exactly what happens with a lot of these tweeners. They try to put him into like a traditional style defense, and that's not what you have here. If you wanted a traditional style guy, then you should have drafted a traditional style guy. You know what he reminds me of? Remember Isaiah Simmons when he came out a few years ago? He also came out of Clemson. So he was a bigger name prospect. A lot of Giants fans were like, oh, we have to get this guy. And I couldn't believe it right then. And I'm like, he's a tweener. I don't want him. That requires coaching. That needs scheming, and he's too talented to just have as a third down back because you're going to draft him like the first round. So the Cardinals were the ones who went ahead and took him. And you can notice the name you don't hear much about in the NFL. Isaiah Simmons. Because it requires a specific scheme fit and a coach that is willing to work within what he can do and give him a chance to shine. And that's what Trenton Simpson is. I point blank, I want the Giants to go nowhere near this kid for that reason. Because Wings defense is what Wings defense is. You don't change it to fit a guy like this. You just don't.
Yeah.
So I'm good. It's a hard pass for me on this guy. Because Clemson even tried to move him into more of a traditional linebacker role, probably to help his draft status. Because Simmons would go into that same school, probably hurt his draft stock, to be very frank. So they moved him into a more traditional, and it did hurt his performance. His tape this past year was nowhere as good as the tape the prior year because of that. And if he had played like he did the prior year, he'd probably be a late first-round pick. But because of this year, he's probably going to be a second-round pick. And someone's going to take a shot at him because he's still that athletic guy. He's still got the range and the motions that people covet at that position. But he's just not going to be able to do it. He's not going to be able to. I think he's going to be a guy who's better suited in a very specific defense and then has a chance to shine. But because he probably won't go to one, this is a really big bust potential kind of guy. And I hate to put him at number 3 and say that, but if you put him in the right system, he is a number 3.
Yeah. Like you said, he's deep and wide, high ceiling, low floor, yeah. He's like I said, he's a bust guy, or he could be, right system. He's
like I said, right system. He's a really good player.
Yeah.
Wrong system, he's a bust. And he's going to fall apart and be out of the league in a couple of years, or he'll be riding the bench somewhere. Point blank. All righty. You're next.
I'm next. All right, I'm next. Jack Campbell from Iowa. He's 6'5", 249 pounds.
I had a cramp against. I was letting you go back to back.
I was about to say, I was like, wait a minute. I just talked about Simpson. So he's got. Should have used that ball preserver, man. You've been good.
That's not the problem. It's a totally different problem right now. My leg is just tightening up on me.
But yeah, so he's 6'5", 249 pounds. He's got great wingspan. He's got great size. Well, good size for that spot. He plays physical. He uses that size.
This isn't just good size. This is amazing size. We're talking about guys who were there before that are 6'1", like 220 pounds. You got a guy now 6'5", 249 pounds. This is prototypical size, guys. This is the guy who is, out of all the players we're going to talk about, if you want a guy to be the old-fashioned man in the middle of the defense just do your damn job. This is your lunch pail guy right here.
Oh, yeah. He's that red pill. Had his beefcake for breakfast. He's good to go.
By the way, I should mention, because I just had to stand up because of a leg cramp here. I just finished a coconut water right before I started this thing as well. So it's not. It's supposed to be dehydration that caused that. I just had coconut water. Damn it. Facebook told me that was good. So did Twitter. Damn social media.
Selling point.
That's why you can't trust anything on social media except the two giant goofballs.
Yes, right here for it. Because the answer is mineral water.
But yeah, I mean, the guy processes very quickly. He's a physical player, like a leader. He's a hard worker.
That's what I say. He's a great teammate and a leader.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, like, all his teammates rave about this guy. Like, seriously, like, if you need a linebacker, guys, like a legit number one linebacker, this is your guy. A pure middle of the field linebacker. His only issue he really has is his range. He's not the fastest guy in the world. Because of that, he's got some limitations as far as coverage sideline to sideline, which I know is like a big thing now in the modern NFL. People want a guy that can go from side to side. But listen, everybody's got a con to go with the pros. That's his con.
Yeah.
So
well, you don't have that size in this league, and
yeah, you try going side to side at 250.
Yeah. You're side to side at the buffet line.
Yeah, but like I said, the other thing, only the knock I'll give him is he's not the best in man coverage. But being that, you know, not every system is a man coverage scheme, I don't think that's a problem. He just needs to go. He just needs to go ahead and go to a team that does his own scheme, or doesn't count on the linebacker to be a man coverage kind of guy. As my dad chimes in with leg cramps, be a potassium deficiency, eat a banana. I have banana all the time, actually, with cottage cheese, bananas, and honey.
I'm not a banana. You're a banana.
I'm a banana. All righty. We didn't say what round for him. Round two.
Second round.
Round two. And very early in the second round. It wouldn't even shock me if somebody squeaks by in the late first round. They happen to just have the position of need, and he's there like that. But yeah, second round, I'm thinking. All righty. Number 1, Drew Sanders out of Arkansas. Not to be confused with Arkansas. Arkansas. 6'4", 235 pounds. See, another guy that's we're getting a little bit of size here. He's a former Crimson Tide guy, former Alabama player. Moved to off-ball linebacker after being an edge rusher at Alabama, and really just shot out of a cannon at the position there. Really good length, athletic, definitely good at that position as far as a pass rusher. The downfall really is potential is just potential too. We talked about this before with Henley. Like, when you're drafting for potential, there's always the room for issues there. So, you know, you got to be careful with that, because if you bank on a guy with like a late first round, early second round, like I'm talking with this guy here, and he's a bust, that's a high pick to bust on.
But I said it's a terrible draft pick to waste.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a waste. I just think that he may be a little delayed in being very good in this league, because you may see some time to develop and figure out where to put him at. Because he was an edge rusher and because he played linebacker, I think he's a guy that you're going to move around the field based on what you need for that particular play. I think you'll have him actually at the edge sometimes. You'll have him in the middle sometimes. You'll have him as a pure pass rusher sometimes. You'll have him as a guy to go off into some QB spy kind of stuff as well. And we'll have to see how he develops overall in pass coverage, because he really wasn't used very much of that at either Arkansas or Alabama, especially man coverage. You just didn't see it. So I don't know if that's because he can't do it, at least in their eyes, or if he just wasn't called for in their scheme. So we'll have to see how that works out for him. But again, I hate to draft a guy based on potential this high, but I think he has the highest ceiling of anybody at this position in this draft, whereas Jack Campbell is the safest pick. Drew Sanders has the highest ceiling of anybody in the position at this pick, I think.
It's fair. It's a fair assessment.
So it's same boat then? You thinking late first, early second?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he went in the late first, but early second. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's more likely. I'm with you on that. I do think it's more likely. But again, same as we talked about with Jack a minute ago. I just have this weird feeling that's one of these linebackers, one of those two, is going to go late in the first. I don't know which one. But one of the two is going to. Yeah, all righty. We are on to the safeties. This is a safe place, guys. This is a safe place.
Yeah.
Safe place. As there's a piano in the background, making us feel safe. Oh no, I hear it. All right, you're up.
Let's go, Brandon Joseph. Never trust a man with 2 first names from Notre Dame.
That's true. Should have put him at number 10 for that. I didn't think about that part of it.
Oh yeah,
he's off to number 11 now. Be gone with it.
Adios.
I have trust issues.
Mr. Joseph is 6 foot, 202 pounds. He also played at Northwestern. All kidding inside, his football IQ has been great during pass coverage. Like he gets schemes and he understands what's going down. He's a ball hawk. He's one of those players that's always looking to see where the ball is and where it could potentially go. So this way he can make those moves. I do like the tackling on this guy. I don't think he gets as nearly as much missed tackles as we've talked about earlier. Like,
some of the guys we've talked about, they just like lunge and hope for the best.
Yeah, no, he wraps and goes. But Drew, we talked about it before. His ball production has dropped off for the past couple seasons.
Yeah, he was amazing in 2020 with that, and then just
he
went away.
Went off a little bit. And he's also not the best against the run.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, open tackling's also been an issue for. I mean, we talked about him being good in, tackling overall. He is, but if he's on an island with just himself at that point, and the guy has the chance to move around, he's the guy who might miss it. Might take the wrong angle, might make the wrong move, and all of a sudden he's just done there. And being that he has trouble with open field tackling, it makes you think that special teams may not be the best place for him. That's kind of an important skill in that. And that's why he's down to number 10. Because if you're this place in the draft, you're probably going to have to do some special teams. And that's going to be potentially an issue for him.
Yeah, definitely.
All righty. Oh, we didn't talk about draft round. I think 4 or 5 for him.
Yeah,
early day 3.
I see him like mid 4. Like I could see him go a little higher, a little lower, but I mean, mid 4 is like where I would have taken him.
All righty. Number 9, J.L. Skinner, Boise State, the land of the bluegrass. Not to be confused with Kentucky. That honestly, when you watch their film, first off, I got to say it's annoying watching Boise State. It's kind of like cool that they have blue grass, but when you have blue grass and blue uniforms, it all blends.
It's very distracting.
It all blends. So 6'4", 220 pounds. This guy's bigger than some of the linebackers we just talked about.
For real.
That's the scary part. Like, he's taller than a decent amount of them. He's almost got half a foot on Ivan Pace. And he's almost the same weight. So great size, obviously, for a safety. Very athletic, high motor, physical player. Great against the run. Where his issue is more in the issue of coverage. So had issues as far as his movement's not exactly the most fluid, which I'll take that as a hit in a late round guy or a mid to late round guy, because that's something that you can coach. The next thing is that he's had trouble in man coverage. And that's an issue for us specifically because we are typically a man cover scheme. So he needs to find a role on a team that's going to fit his strengths and try to hide his weaknesses. But if you're a team that needs a box safety kind of guy, like an old school box safety, this is a good player for you. If you need a guy who could just coverage more and that's what you rely on, you don't need this guy. You don't. But I'll say this for considering where he's going to go, because I think he's going to be more like a third, fourth round kind of guy. I think he'd be good on special teams. I think he'd be a guy you can bring in on run plays. I think that's a guy that you can go ahead and plug in and play for a while. And I think he'd be somebody who's going to carve out a career in this league. It's just a matter of how high that ceiling goes. And does he develop into a starter, or does he say that role player, run stopping safety that plays special teams well? So time will tell.
I also see him going probably early in the fourth, late third. Like I said, it's not fluid. He's got some issues, but he's also very talented.
Yeah. All righty. Number 8.
Jacarvis Quan Martin.
And I got to say, I don't even know why his nickname is Quan. I tried to find that. And I didn't look too hard, don't get me wrong, but I didn't see. I'm like, Jacarvis Quan?
So anyone out there in podcast land, listen to this live.
Yeah, if you know why, let us know, because I'm a little curious to that one too now, because I was thinking about it then, and I did a quick look and didn't see anything on it, but Quan? That's his name's not like Saquon. Quan. Makes sense. Jartavius?
Yeah.
Not a Quan.
Yeah.
His name's Quan.
So we were just talking about some big boys. My man is only 5'11", 194 pounds.
He's not a big boy.
No. He
Not
went
a big
back
boy.
from there. He was a corner, though, in 2021. And normally when you move from a corner to safety, you get a little older and a little bigger. That's not his case.
His issue was speed. He didn't have the speed to play corner.
Yeah, but he's got the silent speed.
Yeah.
Which is, he's good. He's got the lateral speed. Great tackler. That's something he's worked on. So,
yeah,
which means
you see improvement.
Which means you can improve more in the NFL.
Yeah, you do see improvement. He
also became a ball hawk this past season. He was all about tackling. He's all about
not that kind of hawk.
Ball. Yeah. The
kind that goes caw, not the kind that goes bzzz.
Oh, touche. He also is a versatile pass cover. So he can cover in man, zone, or in slot.
Yeah, he's a guy who can move around, and that's important when you're talking a mid-round guy, because he might not start. And if he doesn't start, and you're going to put him on dime and nickel packages, here's a guy that you can move into those packages and trust that it's going to be a good spot for him. That, it's like I said, he's a guy I actually liked a lot. I liked his tape a lot.
Yeah. Like, if Giants can get this guy, well, he has issues with long speeds, and he's also a little small. But if Giants can find a way to sneak this guy in late.
Listen, we're gonna need to figure out who's gonna play corner this year at the slot position too, because we're gonna go ahead and cut Darnay Holmes. It hasn't happened yet, but we can save like $2.7 million by cutting him. It's gonna happen. There's no doubt in my mind. Darnay Holmes will not make the team.
I mean, if you pick this guy up in the 4th round for the Giants, even in late 3rd, depending on what's out there, it's not a bad opportunity.
Yeah, like I said, nickel dime kind of guy that plays in special teams. That's what he'll be. It's a pretty good role for him. So where you got him at?
I'm saying late 3rd, early 4th.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same. I think that's what the same as I got to as well. I think he's a guy that somebody tries to develop into a starting corner, but gives him the chance to take some time to learn the position. Or, like I said, has him as a starter, but more as a nickel dime kind of guy that plays, a 3-3-5 kind of scheme or something like that. So that's where I definitely see him at. And He'll definitely carve out something in this league. All righty. Number 7. Got Jair Brown. Jair Brown from Penn State. Now I'm messing up the name.
Yeah.
5'11", 203
DR.
pounds. Explosive. Really good production in college. There's a lot of people in here that say if you're looking for a guy that it's a very like, not necessarily a high ceiling kind of guy, but a high floor guy, this is a good guy for you at that point. If you want a safe pick, this is a safe one. Really tough. Doesn't necessarily have the best instincts, though. You got to put him in the right place to make the play, to make the move. And partially that because he's got some issues with his movement. His movement isn't exactly the most fluid. His hips aren't exactly the smooth movement that you want. Again, something hopefully that you can coach. He's also got some issues with missed tackles. A lot of that is how he tackles because he is the guy that's more the lunger kind of guy. He wants to make the big hit, though. It's not that he's afraid of the contact. Some of these guys, when they make those big explosive hits, it's just they kind of lucked out into him because they're just diving at the player. He's trying to make that explosive hit. So got to kind of coach some of that away as well and get to a more of a short tackling kind of form. And I think you'll be, you'll see somebody's going to go 3rd, 4th round there at that point. It's going to be probably a low-end starter to begin his career in the league. And I think will probably develop into better than average starter in this league. So again, safe pick. Not going to be the high ceiling pick. If you're looking for the guy to be a star and hit a home run, he's not your guy. If you're looking for a guy who's going to go ahead and be a long career, a guy who's going to be a starter probably in this league, but not necessarily, like I said, not be the guy that's going to go to the Pro Bowl, this is your guy. All righty. Number 6, Jamie Robinson out of Florida State, 5'11", 191 pounds. That's a tiny guy there. Very high motor. Versatile guy, moves around the field. We talked about before, nickel dime coverage kind of guys. This is a guy that you wouldn't want if you do a man defense like we do, put him in that kind of position. But if you're a zone defense, you can do that and put him on the field in those kind of nickel and dime coverage schemes with no problem. Very good tackler, but he's also not a ball hawk. He's not the guy who you're going to put in the center field if you play him at free safety that's going to go out and go for the interception. And play that center field kind of position. And again, keep in mind, he's not good in man. So he's not a guy that I want for the Giants at that point. But I think someone's going to find a role for him. Again, as that nickel dime coverage kind of guy with the potential to be a starting safety eventually in this league here, but definitely starting out a nickel and dime kind of package there. So he's got a higher ceiling than a guy like Brown we talked about a minute ago, but he's got a lower floor. So he's a little more of a risky kind of pick there. So again, I think round 3 or 4 as well for him there. So any thoughts on Robinson there? Robinson, you're back. You're on mute now. You're on mute. You can't talk on mute.
Oh, I say he's a bit of a firework. Robinson, as he came back and Drew talked all about him.
I did. I took the last 2 spots where you were gone. Listen, that's what happens.
It was fantastic. Well, you only took the last spot because it was your spot before.
No, it's okay.
It's all right. I would say he's a firework. He's got a high motor. He's versatile. He's a great tackler. Like
you already went over all that. You missed it.
I know. I got that. Stay in my spot there.
You can't take your spot back. I already took it.
I wasn't taking the whole thing back. I'm just saying I would take him. I feel like he's got a low floor and a high ceiling. And
I said that too.
Okay, I just got back. Right. You guys are all live. I wasn't.
At least we know now that we're the same school of thought here.
Yeah. I was just saying because that he's probably going to go late 3rd.
I'm just saying. Number 5.
Yes, dear. You'd be surprised. You asked my thoughts, and then you sit there and criticize me.
The same thoughts we just gave.
Okay, well, don't be cranky pants when you ask my thoughts.
Oh, I'll be cranky pants all I want, damn it.
I know. Because you need Manscaped today.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so Sidney Brown from Illinois. Oh, damn. He's 5'10", 211 pounds. He also looks like the old school wrestler that's a high flying kind of guy. He's very athletic.
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, very athletic and just all over the field. He's got good size, which leaves him being very fast. He's versatile. He's got great vision, see where the ball's going and seeing how a route is going to develop and run. He's good and bad, but also he may, just like the Giants of last year.
The last 70 years.
Yeah.
Giants had not covered a tight end well since the 1890.
Yeah, pretty much. He doesn't read the tight end so well.
What's the length is the problem? You're 5'10", and you're going to try to cover
I
a guy
thought maybe he's distracted by those tight ends.
Oh, yes. But it's like when you're 5'10" and you're trying to cover somebody who's 6'3", 6'4", it's going to be an issue. It's going to be. So
well, the guy's going to outweigh you by like 30, 40 pounds.
I could also say this. He's going to have trouble potentially with some taller receivers as well if you ask him to go into coverage like that. And, man.
Yeah.
So luckily, as a safety, he won't deal with that as often. He probably is the guy that you really just stick on the receiving running back. Like you're playing a guy like an Austin Eckler. He's the guy you're going to put right on him, and he's going to do his job and handle his business.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a strong tackler. Needs to get a little better in the run defense as well. And a lot of that is also the length as well. When you're giving up that kind of length, that's an issue. But he's a scrappy guy. I think he's going to go into round 3 for someone. I think he'll be a starter in this league as well. I'm like I said, he had some really good tape. You just have to understand that with the height issue, there's going to be some things you're going to want to limit. Yeah. With low height comes low responsibility. That's not what he said at all.
Hey, go ask Rudy at the same thing.
Rudy!
You got to play in there.
Yeah, I'll play. Yeah, I've never seen that movie, actually. Never seen Rudy. Never have. Yeah, I know of it, obviously. Never seen it. I know it ends with everybody in the field and everybody going, ooh! I have no clue what they're all excited about, though. I don't know.
It's like the original Waterboy or something like that.
Waterboy. Water sucks. It really sucks. But yeah, like I said, round 3 guy. I think you'll see him as a starter in this league. I do have to point something out in this whole thing as we're talking about him now, because we talked about Quan Martin, his teammate, before. This is now 3 guys in the secondary in this draft that are big players in this draft out of Illinois. That's pretty impressive for Illinois. Seriously, from a scouting, abilities there, to get Witherspoon, Brown, and Martin on the same defense like that. Kudos to them. Seriously, that's pretty good. And that was all, within the last couple of years, obviously, under Lovie Smith when he was there. That's the guy who got these guys over there. So, maybe he's not the head coach in Texans anymore. Maybe somebody else gets him back to college. He's obviously got an eye for picking, young defensive talent there. Yeah. I've heard some issues with the coaching. That's why I noticed like a lot of these guys weren't big names until this year when Lovie Smith left.
Yeah.
But as a scout, he apparently did a pretty good job, at least in the secondary. Because like I said, Illinois is not the powerhouse. You don't go, Illinois, that's what you get your players from. But here's 3 guys that are going to potentially start in the league in the secondary in the same draft class from Illinois. Like I said, I like to give the small schools a little kudos weekend.
Touche.
So, did you say to shave? To shave? To manscaped? Manscaped. Your balls will thank you.
Oh, they will.
All righty. Number 4, Christopher Smith. Most generic name in America. Christopher Smith. You know how many times this guy probably comes across someone with the same exact name as him?
How many Christopher Smiths are in Ellis Island?
Oh my God. Probably like one like stone wall itself. So funny story, because obviously being that I have a very common first and last name, I've come across 3 different people with the same exact name as me. And when I first moved down here to Florida, there was a guy who had the same exact name as me in the same exact apartment building as me. Not just the complex, the same building. He was on the 1st floor. I was on the 3rd floor. And all this stuff started popping up in my credit. And I could not thank him enough. He was very good, very on time. Help up my score
I was
up.
about to say, did he steal your identity?
I kept an eye on it just in case he ever stopped so I can get it off there. But he helped raise me up, actually. I got a little better points when I went to go get my next car. So help me out.
Thanks.
So yeah, Christopher Smith out of Georgia Bulldog here, 5'11", 192 pounds. Another low weight guy, but a high football IQ, versatile ball hawk, good production in college. Obviously played in one of the best defenses in the entire country, if not the best. So yeah, when you excel at a place like that, that says something because you have competition before you even start in Georgia. You know, we're going to talk about the tight ends here coming up in the next couple episodes. And you're going to hear about one that's a backup tight end for Georgia that's going to go in the first couple of rounds. That's the kind of competition they have at Georgia. So when you're a starter in general, that's impressive. But when you're a starter that shows something on film and you stick out on film, that's even more impressive. Ball hawk guy, versatile guy. You can play all over in a dime, nickel, free safety kind of spot there. I wouldn't put him in a strong safety at his size. That's the one spot. But really good production in college. The only issues with him really is he's a weak tackler. And that's probably because of the other issue. His weight, 192 pounds. You know,
just a real man.
Coaching staff's got to figure out, can we put a little weight on him? You know, can we send him out to the old China buffet and have a few, few plates of food, or is this guy going to lose what makes him special if you do that? You know, that's something that the scouts and the NFL teams will have to figure out. But listen, he went ahead and excelled in the SEC at that weight. You know my thoughts in the SEC. That is the amateur league for the NFL. It is the toughest, spot to play in all of college football. So if you can excel at that at 192, you should be able to play in the NFL. So he's another guy that I think is going to go probably round 3. I think very early round 3. Someone might even sneak up to round 2 if they like him enough there, but probably round 3.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't be surprised if he stuck his way to round 2, but also,
all depends on if there's a run on safeties and what people need at that point. I'll be the first one to say point blank, I follow the needs of the Giants. I don't follow the needs of the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams. If there's a bunch of teams that need a free safety and they're worried about a run on them, and this guy's there, somebody might take him a little early.
Who's safety for the Cardinals?
That's a good question because Buda Baker wants to leave. Didn't think I know that one.
That was impressive. Good for you.
I often impress. I also dress to impress with my Manscaped Your Balls Will Thank You shirt. Oh, yes. Manscaped.
Yeah. Awesome.
All righty.
Number 3.
Número tres.
Three. Jordan Battle, Alabama.
That's a cool name, first off. I got to say that.
That's
a cool name for a football player.
He's ready for battle.
Yes. Battle is ready for battle.
Battle.
If he was nautical, okay, and he was on a boat, and let's say somehow you make a mistake and his boat starts going down, would you say you sunk his battleship?
No. Also, maybe
the crazy things we think of.
Touche. All right. So, Battle over here is 6'1", 209 pounds. He doesn't sound like a battleship, but more like a cruiser. He almost went into last year's draft, which is
it's not a
impressive.
Dinghy.
What?
It's not a dinghy. Some of these guys have been dinghies.
Oh yeah, no. He's definitely almost went last year's draft. Sorry. There. I think he's got a high floor. He's got a lot of room to grow, and I don't think he's fallen anytime soon. Could be because of the weight. Keeps him light on his feet.
Yeah.
He's got great at playing down to the passes and flats. Dude's super versatile. He's got great football IQ. He makes early decisions, sticks to them, and it pays off well for him for the most part. He's got fluid hips, fluid motion. It's almost like he's on ice instead of AstroTurf or in grass.
Is he the Oksana Bayul of the NFL draft?
Who was that?
Brian Boitano.
Oh, that's what he would do.
Nancy Kerrigan.
Oh, he would probably kick an ass or two. That's what Brian Tom would do.
When Brian Boitano was in the Olympics skating for the gold. I love that movie. Good old South Park movie.
It's fantastic. But Battle also, he missed a few tackles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Is that a dying giraffe?
Yeah. Oh, what's the dying draft?
Wow. Oh, man.
Battle's a good tackler, but he has a tendency to miss. So
yeah, just form.
Something that he could be coached into. And
sometimes, listen, every player has a flaw.
He might be going for all guts.
Might glory. Just be his flaw. Every player has a flaw. Nobody is great at everything. Except for me.
I would say his flaw is probably he's not the best man, but
that's not even a flaw. That's just what he plays best in. He plays best in zone. So, Alabama in general plays a lot of zone defense kind of schemes at that point. So you have a safety that is used to that. He's comfortable with it. So if you have a zone coverage scheme, this is the guy you're going to plug and play right into your defense right off the bat and start. So, I would think second round. Huh? No, you're not on mute. Why are you thinking you're on mute?
I can't hear Drew.
I can hear you. So anyway, when Rob figures out his issues while we can hear him and he can't hear us, we can talk all kinds of trash about Rob. Yes, we can. So as he's saying, he can't hear me in private chat, but I can hear you. So yeah, like I said, I think round 2 or 3 for him, probably more likely 2. So I do think that this is a guy that you're going to see start in this league, and he's going to have a decent career in this league overall. So, what else do you expect though from Alabama? That's what they do. They produce NFL players. So, number 2, Antonio Johnson, Texas A&M. 6'2", 198 pounds, good size and length. Another guy's very versatile. We've had a lot of versatile guys in this draft. We have guys that are moving around like crazy. Guys who are able to play the nickel, the dime, the safety positions, the slot. It's nice to see because you have to be versatile in this NFL the way it is right now. You can't stop one spot. Defenses are playing multiple types of defenses now. That's what it is. Great at seeing the field and processing. That's a natural skill. You can't teach that. You either can do it or you can't. I've always said that. Very physical, not afraid to tackle. He does need to improve his form though for when transitioning in coverage at that point. So like when he's in a spot that he's got to turn and go run with the receiver or the running back, tight end, whatever the case may be, then that's where he has his issues. He's also not a ball hawk. So if you're looking for the guy who's going to go play your center field and get your interceptions, that's not him. But he's been the guy who's good at everywhere he's been, but he's never been great at one specific spot. So if you're looking for a guy who's versatile in the secondary, who's going to play a bunch of different spots, handle his business, but not be a star at those spots, that's what he is. So if that's something your defense needs, or that's something you're looking for overall, as a guy who's versatile and can play multiple spots, this is a good guy for you. If you're looking for a starter who's going to be your strong safety, free safety for the next 10 years, might not be the guy.
He is versatile. I don't think he's quite just a backup guy. Like I think he's.
I'm not saying he's a backup guy. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm saying he's not your plug and play for the next 10 years guy. That he's not.
Correct. I just want to be clear on that. Like, I think he has a starting job in the NFL, but I don't think he's going to be your star in the NFL.
Exactly.
So, but that being said, like, I can still see him going late in the second round.
Yeah. Like I said, second and third round is where you're probably going to see him at overall. So, but again, if you need a safety, part of it is too, let's be very frank, we're to get to number 1 here in a second, but there's not a stud safety in this draft. There's not a guy that's like, I can't miss this guy because he's this
No.
much better than everybody else. There's not a stud safety. There just isn't. If that's what you're hoping for in this draft, you're going to be very sorely disappointed. Luckily, the Giants aren't in a position of need like that. So we don't have to be disappointed like that. The Giants have disappointed us enough over the last 10 years. They don't have to do it in that way. We just still need that number one wide receiver that we can't get either.
Yeah. Well, we could always convert a corner back into a safety.
There we go. I mean, honestly,
that's a move.
In the way the NFL is played nowadays, you're going to start seeing that much more. You're going to see safeties playing linebacker, corners playing safety. It's what it is. Everybody's getting smaller and smaller. So number one, take it away, Rob.
One. Let's go.
Numero uno, not to be confused with the pizzeria.
Brian Branch of Alabama.
Freaking Bama.
6-foot man walking around at 190 pounds.
We're talking like this now. Boom,
These all his highlights right here. This is what's going on right here in these highlights.
I gotta say, think about we're joking around about Alabama, and that's fine. Everybody jokes around about Alabama, but
except for Alabama.
How impressive is it that Nick Saban built this kind of school and this kind of system in Alabama of all places? I mean, I know like they got a good history because of Coach Bear Bryant back in the day and that kind of stuff, but it's like, where should I go to school? Should I go to Miami, beautiful Miami? Yeah. Should I go to school maybe in Texas or California? Let's go to LA and play USC or something. Or should I go play in the swamps of Alabama?
And get attacked by gators.
And know that no matter what, there's no guaranteed starting job because he's going to get every goddamn player he can for every goddamn position he can. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
That man could sell cars for a living and make a very good living.
He's selling players instead.
He's got abilities. All right. Sorry. I cut you off again. Sidetracked again. Sidetracked.
All right. Branch is 6 foot, 190 pounds. Super versatile.
Another versatile guy. Love it.
Yeah. It's great. He's great. He gets to run. Hey, Giants. High football IQ. He sees the play, beats the play. Sees the play, beats the play. Think fast, run fast.
Think fast, be fast. Think fast.
That being said, he's bad at man coverage.
Yeah. No Giants.
He's not the ball hawk. He's more of the guy that you can see in the blitz in this. Like he's
interesting fit for the NFL because he's the size of a free safety, but he plays like a strong safety.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing. I mean, we talked about Jordan Battle, his teammate there. His teammate's got 20 pounds in him. And his teammate's probably much more fitting for the NFL size-wise. But as my dad's going to correct me now, because he knows Alabama. He went to school in Alabama, not at Alabama, but in Alabama. Tuscaloosa, Alabama is not a swamp. Listen, all of Alabama is one big swamp.
Pretty much.
It's not the place that you go, oh, this is where I want to go party as a kid. Usually.
Yeah.
Not when you have options of free school, like in like beautiful places that with beautiful beaches and known for, fun and partying and stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, you kidding me, man? Hawaii University calls up and you're 18 and you're in high school. Like, yeah. Let's go. Aloha.
I'm there. Yeah. Aloha.
So, but yeah, so Brian, I got him as a round 2 kind of guy. He'll probably be the first one off the board overall. But again, I'm not sure what to do with him in the NFL. He's a legitimate NFL talent. He's a legitimate NFL player. But he's not a guy that I'm like, this is the set specific role for him. And I think that's the issue with a lot of these guys we're talking about here at safety. There's not this spot where you go, these guys are strong safeties and excel as strong safety. And maybe that's a good thing because they're moving around the defenses. They're being much more fluid than they used to be as far as that kind of stuff. But like I said, it's a weird year for safeties. It really is. If you're somebody who has your safety position set, and you just need some extra guys for nickel and dime that you want to see if you can develop into a starter, this is the draft for you. If you have an obvious hole at safety, not the draft for you. You might want to get a veteran.
Yeah.
So
Spend the money.
Spend the money. Money. All righty, guys. So, yeah, we will be back on again for you guys Friday night. We got a couple more episodes here to give you guys all the information on all the rest of the positions here. So, next up on Friday, we're going to have for you guys the quarterback and running back episode. So, we're going to go over with you guys the top 10 at each position again. Now, again, I can't stress this enough because I know someone's going to say this. We have a quarterback. We have a running back. You need more than one. You need backups. You need reserves. So we're going to talk about the main guys here because of the fact that, let's be honest, it's for round one is going to be an all-night thing at that point. You guys are going to want to have some information on these guys. And that's where everybody's going to be talking about Friday Night Work and everything. But we're also going to go down some of the guys who are going to be a little later on that might be guys that we look at for, our future backup quarterback, our backup to Saquon, or potentially our insurance policy against Saquon if he holds out for the season. Because, listen, rumors are he's pissed. If you listen to the rumors, Dexter Lawrence is pretty positive he's going to get his money because they've already had these talks, and he knows he's also under contract with regular contract this year. Saquon apparently is pretty ticked. And the rumors are starting to pop out more. The $13, $14 million offer they gave to him supposedly during the season. Yes, it was 13 to 14, but there wasn't a lot of guarantees. There was a lot of bonuses for kick-ins based on time played and different stats and stuff like that. So, was it a straight up 13, 14, or was it more like 10 million a year and say, oh, well, you can get 13 or 14 if you're an all-pro and those kind of stuff. So we don't know. We weren't there in those conversations, but Saquon is ticked. So I'm not so sure what's going to happen. That's the rumor. I should say, yeah, rumor has it. Adele told us that. So she's like, hey, he's pissed. You ever heard Adele talk?
Yeah, it's like she is from England.
No, it's not even the English part that throws you off. It's like she's that like drunk girl at an English pub. That's what it is.
From Winchester. Yeah, wankers.
Stop being such a wanker, love. And then all of a sudden starts singing like an angel. It's amazing. So, but yeah, like I said, we'll be back on Friday for that for you guys. We're going to be back on next week, Monday. We're going to be on for you discussing the tight ends and the defensive linemen, the defensive tackles in the draft. From there on, we're going to go into our final stretch run of the draft shows there for you. So Tuesday, we're going to be doing our final New York Giants mock draft. Thursday, we're going to do a full-on first-round mock draft for you guys. I'm sorry, Wednesday I meant. Wednesday. Did I say Thursday? Yeah. Wednesday, we're going to do a full-on first-round mock draft for you guys. Thursday, we'll be live for the first night of the draft, the full first round. Friday, we'll be live for the second and third round. Saturday, we'll be live as well for a reaction show after the draft is over. They're talking about the players we got in day 3. So, guys, we're going to be on. Like, there's no time off base to leave it this next week. Like, Rob and I are going to try to get as much sleep as we can while we're just manscaping away. And we're going to be, as he's forgetting here. So, again, guys, the offer we're letting you guys know about, because that's we're being sponsored here by Manscaped this month. Again, 20% off plus free shipping on any purchases at manscaped.com with the promo code Goofballs. You got to put the promo code in, or you don't get the deal. Plus, we don't get the credit. It makes us look
helps us out. It helps the podcast
helps you,
out.
Helps your balls. Helps everybody.
Your balls, thank you.
Your balls, well, thank you. So, again, guys, we'll be back on there for you. We appreciate you guys listening in today as we discuss all the safeties and linebackers coming up with this draft here. We know you got plenty of options of where you can get your Giants news, NFL, and draft news from. We appreciate you guys choosing us, of all people, to get that news from. So, again, guys, we'll see you all Friday night. Mark it down your calendar, or Easy way is hit the like, hit the share, hit all that kind of stuff there on the pages. Whether you're listening to audio, you're listening to video, hit the subscribe button. If you're listening to video, hit the bell on YouTube, hit the like on Facebook, and hit the like in all the events that we share about the upcoming stuff as well. And as always, Giant fans. Amen.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it. So I am sure you have followed us on all the social media platforms. Of course, you have subscribed to the show on your favorite app as well and given us a top rating. Right? Right? Right?